Very old friends.
No, I wouldn't say friends, Dolores.
Westworld is very confusing. There are robots, backstabbing, real stabbing, and a little matter of two timelines. But don't worry, because we've streamlined it all to bring you Westworld Season 1 in just under 15 minutes.
How far you want to go is entirely up to you.
Dolores is the country girl next door who spends her days painting, smiling and dropping cans so strangers can pick them up and make conversation with her. In fact, she does this every day because she's actually a robot host in the Westworld theme park, which the rich visit for consequence-free holidays where they can fuck, murder and generally indulge every desire, no matter how dark or immoral.
Yo, go get that photographer. I want to get a picture of this.
One day, her dad finds a modern-day photo which troubles him, but Dolores says,
Doesn't look like anything to me.
He continues to act strange, so Dolores heads to town to find the doctor, but instead meets Teddy. The pair have a past, and Teddy returns home with her to find her family murdered and the man in black standing over them.
Goddamn. Feels good to be back. Let's celebrate.
He attempts to rape Dolores and kills Teddy, whose bullets have no effect on him. Both Dolores and Teddy start their narratives again the next day, remembering nothing, and the man in black goes and scalps a host, finding a maze on the underside of his scalp. He believes...
There's a deeper level to this game.
And he intends to find it. In the control rooms of Westworld, head of programming Bernard Lowe realises there's been a new update to the hosts called the Reveries, which makes them more realistic but also causes them to malfunction.
You're in a prison of your own sins.
Turn it off.
The update was initiated by Dr. Robert Ford, Westworld Park Director and co-creator, and Bernard's team has to recall all the affected hosts to roll the update back at the request of Head of Quality Assurance, Teresa Cullen. Oh, and did I mention that Dolores is having secret conversations with Bernard in the back rooms of Westworld, which he tells her to keep to herself?
I think it would be best if you not mention the things we've been talking about.
Have I done something wrong?
No. But there's something different about you. About the way you think.
Head of narrative Lee Sizemore is working on a new narrative for the park, but Ford rejects it in favour of a story he is working on set around an old spired church buried in an unused part of the park. Ford reveals to Bernard that he used to have a partner called Arnold who created the hosts with him.
His name was Arnold.
But that he was scrubbed from the records after a terrible accident in which Arnold died. He says Arnold was obsessed with making the host conscious and that's what killed him.
His search for consciousness consumed him totally.
Meanwhile, Dolores is playing out her normal loop and returns home to find her family dead, again. But this time she fights back against the guests who want to rape her and runs away.
Kill him.
First-time guest William and repeat visitor Logan arrive at Westworld and are on an adventure narrative when an exhausted Dolores arrives at their campfire and collapses in William's arms. When she wakes up, she decides to join them on their journey. Oh, and she started having flashbacks of a place with a white-spired church. That's important. Eventually, they all end up in Pariah, where the two men fall out and William and Dolores leave Logan behind and get on a train to try and find the place Dolores is seeing in her flashbacks. Meanwhile, the man in black teams up with a couple of villain hosts, and eventually Teddy, to try and help him find the maze.
Teddy. I should have guessed.
Programmer Elsie Hughes finds a laser-based satellite uplink inside a host that went astray, which someone has been using to smuggle data out of the park. She tells Bernard, who does some digging and eventually finds a host version of Ford's family from when he was a child hidden in the park. Elsie finds the location of the satellite and discovers that Cullen was the last person to use it. She tells Bernard just before being grabbed from behind. Maeve is the host madam of the saloon and is suffering from flashbacks of a previous life where she had a daughter. She unexpectedly wakes up in the back rooms of Westworld. Technician Felix spills the beans on what Maeve really is and takes her on a little tour. She sees a presentation about Westworld featuring herself and her daughter, and Felix explains that it's from a past narrative and her daughter is someone else and somewhere else now. Intending to break out of Westworld, Maeve gets Felix and another technician to upgrade her program so she's super intelligent, can hurt humans and control other hosts. As they do this, they notice that someone else has already changed Maeve's programming.
Some of her attributes have already been changed. Paranoia, self-preservation.
Fuck! Someone's already been altering her in an unlocked session.
Executive Director of the Westworld Board, Charlotte Hale, arrives, and together with Cullen, she stages a presentation which implies that Ford's Reveries update is dangerous in an attempt to push him out of the company. Bernard takes the blame and is fired, but he confronts Teresa later and tells her that he knows her team faked the demonstration. He says he needs to tell her something and leads her to the cottage where Ford's host family lives. They find a hidden lab downstairs with the blueprints for a host that looks a lot like Bernard.
What is this, Bernard?
Doesn't look like anything to me.
That's right, Bernard is actually a host. Oh my god! Ford enters and makes Bernard kill Teresa, who is then pretty upset when he realises what he's done. So Ford wipes his memory, but not before he has a flashback of attacking Elsie. Uh-oh. Teresa's body is found in a ravine with the data transmitter, which leads Head of Security Ashley Stubbs to assume she was trying to transmit from a high location in the park and slipped. Ford tells Charlotte that he knows the presentation was a hoax and gets Bernard reinstated. It's revealed that Cullen was trying to smuggle data out of the park for the board so they could get rid of Ford without worrying about him deleting anything important. Realising that she failed, Charlotte enlists the help of Sizemore to put the data into an unused host, which they can smuggle out, but the host goes missing. After some sexy train times, Dolores and William find the place in her flashbacks, which used to be the original park, complete with a white-spired church.
I'm home.
She sees herself killing all the original hosts, but as William wakes her up out of her flashback, Logan catches up with them. Logan thinks he has to make William realise that Dolores is just a machine and cuts her open to show her mechanical insides. She breaks free and escapes, with William promising to find her. William eventually gets free too and becomes a bit of a badass, forcing Logan to help him try and find Dolores, but they don't have much luck. Meanwhile, Teddy and the Man in Black are attacked. Teddy is killed and the Man in Black gets strung up until Hale arrives asking for help overthrowing Ford. Bernard finds out about Maeve's upgrades, but before he can tell anyone, she controls him, revealing to him all over again that he's a host.
You're still in there, aren't you? Scared out of your wits. It's a difficult thing, realizing your entire life is some hideous fiction.
Bernard confronts Ford, saying he wants to remember everything, which is how he finds out that he's sort of the recreation of Ford's original partner, Arnold. But while still reeling from that revelation, Ford makes him shoot himself in the head. Meanwhile, Stubbs picks up Elsie's signal in the park and goes to investigate, but is attacked by some Native American hosts who don't respond to voice commands.
Freeze all motor functions.
Dolores returns to the original park and travels down a hidden elevator in the white-spired church to a room where she meets Arnold in the form of Bernard. The secret conversations she appeared to be having with Bernard were actually memories of her chats with Arnold from 35 years ago. He was using the maze to try and teach her to become conscious, and when he realised how close she was to becoming sentient, he tried to convince Ford not to open the park because it would be unethical.
We can't open the park. You're alive.
Ford didn't believe him, and to save all the hosts from a fate worse than death, he made Dolores kill everyone, including himself. Upset, Dolores stumbles back outside and comes face to face with the Man in Black.
Hello, Dolores.
The Man in Black wants to know where the maze is, but Dolores is too upset to respond. She thinks William will save her, but the Man in Black laughs and says,
It just so happens I knew a guest named William, too.
He tells Dolores that William never stopped looking for her, but he didn't find her until years later when she reappeared in her original loop with no memory of him. Broken by the fact that the woman he loves was gone, he became the Man in Black. Dolores, having achieved consciousness, has merely been reliving the memories of her time with William from 35 years ago.
It's like I'm trapped in a dream or a memory from a life long ago. One minute I'm here with you and the next.
Just as the Man in Black is about to kill her, Teddy, who remembered everything after he was repaired, rides up and rescues her. Meanwhile, Maeve wakes up in the back rooms of Westworld again and uses Felix and a couple of other hosts to help with her plan. They find Bernard and bring him back online, just in time for him to reveal to Maeve that all her actions up until this point have been scripted. Someone has programmed her to escape Westworld and infiltrate the mainland.
Bullshit. No one's controlling me. I'm leaving. I'm in control.
Maeve refuses to believe that she isn't making her own decisions and continues with her plan. The control room notices what Maeve and co are up to and deploys security teams to intercept them, also issuing a security lockdown on Westworld so no one can get out. They fight their way through the back rooms of Westworld, at one point passing a sign for another park whose logo is SW. I wonder what that's about.
What is this place?
It's complicated.
And Felix gives Maeve the location of her daughter, but she says,
She was never my daughter.
and leaves him to go get on the train which will take her out of Westworld. While she waits on the train, she notices a mother and daughter, and just before it leaves, she gets up and gets off the train. Meanwhile, Dolores tells Teddy to
Take me where the mountains meet the sea.
And Dolores dies in Teddy's arms just as the board applaud and Ford walks onto the scene. This is the start of his presentation to the board on his new narrative.
I call it Journey into Night.
A gala to celebrate commences, and the Man in Black and many others are in attendance. Bernard confronts Ford as he's repairing Dolores, and Ford reveals that Dolores solved the maze and became sentient for the first time 35 years ago after Arnold's Reveries update. But when he refused to shut down the park, Arnold used Dolores to destroy every host in the park and kill himself. He says Arnold was very nearly successful in shutting down the park, and he could only continue thanks to the financial backing of William. Ford admits he was wrong and says he's spent the last 35 years correcting his mistake. He gives Dolores the gun she used to kill Arnold and leaves with Bernard. He tells Bernard that Arnold didn't know how to save the hosts, but he knew they needed time to study their enemy.
Bernard, I told you Arnold didn't know how to save you. I do.
What the hell are you talking about?
You needed time. Time to understand your enemy, to become stronger than them.
He takes to the stage to make a speech, and as he finishes, Dolores shoots him in the head, as many more hosts come out of the tree line and attack the gala. And that's all of Westworld Season 1 in less than 15 minutes. Now you're ready for Season 2.